What's happening, guys? My name is OTG and welcome back to the Veloz Journey. This is my second time recording this because the last one I unplugged my mic by accident. So you can see we qualified, well not qualified, sorry, in practice we got P1, Jenson was down in P10, so we're really showing some solid pace here, and it's really nice to see that we've actually got competitive pace. So you can see we're down in Q1, you can see Sebastian Vettel's in P16, Perez is in P19, so something's going on there. We're showing some improvements, we've got some decent pace, so hopefully we can make our way into Q10, into the top 10, and get a really solid time in to maybe give us a really good chance in the race to get somewhere decent, because we need to start improving ourselves. And Bahrain at the moment I'm finding really good. I'm showing some solid pace around there, and as you can see we move up into P10, just a few hundredths of a second off Jenson Button, so that's really good signs. You can see Kamui Kobayashi almost made contact with the shining black McLaren as the Dark Knight comes through now, and we're going to try and improve upon our time just to secure our place, to show, you know, we have actually got some pace here today, and you should threaten it. You should be a little bit worried about whether or not we can actually get something out of this. So Jenson Button's just ahead of us. We're going to try and prove a point and get ahead of our teammate. That's the important thing. He's been out qualifying us quite a lot recently, and we need to start improving ourselves and getting some decent times. And so the DRS open, and we set ourselves a decent time, just 1.1 seconds off the pace of Lewis Hamilton, and Jenson's down in P12 and we're in P9. So we're really showing some good signs. Obviously we want to get the most points for constructors, but personally, as a driver, we need to get this really good points if we want to show that we are a good defending champion. The McLaren isn't the fastest car for a defending world champion. You know, you want to be in a really competitive car, and for Sergio, at the moment he really isn't, but this track is suiting him, unlike the Renault powered engines and the Ferrari powered engines. So Ferrari and Red Bull will struggle a little bit as we go P1 in Q2. A really good start to the lap. We've been shunted down to P4 already. We need to make some improvements to secure our place into the qualifying session, and now you can see there's Kimi Räikkönen's ahead of us, Felipe Massa's behind us. We're coming in for the pits now. We were low of fuel, so we're going to be really lightweight. As we come across, we make a 900th, almost a 10th of a second improvement, and we're up in P9. Jenson scrapes his way through by only 0.02 of a second from Valtteri Bottas, and that puts us into Q3, our first Q3 of the new season, which is really good to see. The McLaren's getting 2 cars in there, and recently we haven't been doing well. Only 1 car, Jenson Button's been scraping his way through. So we're showing pace, and you can see we're yet to set a time unlike everyone else, so we need to make a little bit of a good improvement. We can definitely beat a 37.1 because that's obviously a base time and it's not the fastest time they can set. Open DRS, and there we go, 2.2 seconds faster. But you can see coming through with only 2 minutes remaining, you can see Sergio is down in P10. He needs to make some improvements. A 34.8 isn't good enough. Some improvements are needed. You can see he's got lighter weight car. He's up into 7th gear. DRS open, and it's a 34.5. Only 2 seconds off Kimi Räikkönen and 2 tenths off Räikkönen, 2 tenths off Button. And it's really not a bad time. It's competitive where the McLaren should be, but Jenson, being the more experienced driver in this car and knowing how it works, really does put in the time you would expect from him. So it's really good to see that we're showing some decent pace. You get to see the setup. I've actually enjoyed this car really nicely at this track. It's been a great car to drive, and I'm actually enjoying this track a lot. This track suits me, and so does China recently. So, you know, 2 tracks that I struggled with wheel spin and not finding the traction in the last game really have suited me this year. So something's going right. You can see 2-1 wings, 8-1, I think that's anti-roll bar, something like that. You can see the setup. If you want to see it, then pause it. I go through it quickly because, you know, I don't really think anyone wants to use my setups, but if you want to know what I do, I have TRL limited setups, and I look at how I can adapt that to my style of driving. Obviously, he uses a pad, I use a pad, so that's how I'm going to run it. A lot of people would use someone with wheel, but TRL limiters for me personally is the one I would choose. I use the setups to just give me a base, like if you were making a cake, or like let's make a cheesecake, his is a biscuit base and I add toppings. So there we go, I think that's a good analogy, I'd say. But we're down in P10, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to get some counting on, lads, and the lights are out, and away we go. Jenson Button off to a great start, same with Felipe Massa. Räikkönen off to a poor start. We're going to use the slipstream of Nico Hülkenberg to give us a nice advantage through here. Slipstream OP on this game, of course. Now we're going to dive it up the inside. Little contact it might be. There's a little bit of contact with Ricardo, or sorry, it's Vettel, but we're just losing places. 3 abreast through the second part of the turn 1, and we're doing nicely now up into P4. We can maybe get out to Vettel, which will give us a solid podium position if we can hold it off, just use a bit of a Davilo train up the inside, giving him space, we hold the racing line, and we get ourselves up into P3, and Vettel can't deal with us now. We're 1.3 seconds off Hamilton, and I don't think we're going to be keeping up with them, but pretty much for the rest of until the pit stop, we were just holding off the guys. And to be honest with you, it's just Vettel and Ricciardo. You can see on the mini-map, it's Vettel, Ricciardo, and I think that might be the Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen, and then Jenson Button's holding up a bit of a train. So our pace has actually been really solid around this track, and it's great to see that we can compete with the Red Bulls and the Ferraris at last, but it will definitely be tracks like Canada and Austria, Sochi will be one as well, and maybe the street circuits of Monaco and Singapore where we can get some decent points. So it's definitely a chance we can do well this season. You can see we come on for a set of prime tyres, my personal favourite set. The white wall tyres work perfectly for me around this track, and we were down in P9. Alonso was down there as well, so Alonso having a pretty poor race as well. And now the Williams of, I think that was Valtteri Bottas, comes into the pits as well. We're going to come out, not much traffic as the pack's quite opened up in the midfield area, but that will slowly become a lot tighter as there are slower cars on the different strategies, i.e. I think the Saubers and all that, and the Toro Rossos are on prime tyres to give themselves a little bit of an advantage to get some points. But we made ourselves up into P14, Massa's behind us, Hulkenberg's ahead of us, and I think Hulkenberg will be coming into the pits now, but there'll be a car ahead of him who won't be coming in. And importantly in the pit lane, the McLaren of Jenson Button, you can see our teammate, the yellow dot, but Sebastian Vettel was the dot who's just coming out the pits now, and we can just see a glimmer of him, a black dot, a purplish dot in the distance. We break a little bit later, defending from Massa, and Vettel's got past us, so pretty much our chances of a podium are now slipping. We now need to keep ahead of his teammate to get P4. We just need the points. A podium would be unbelievably amazing, but we need them points to keep ourselves in the running now. Going into this corner, we're going to brake a little bit later, and we get a really good line, so we're finding something in these tyres, and we're actually keeping up with Sebastian Vettel, and you can see now he's getting held up behind Adrian Sutil, who, as I said, is on the prime tyres, so they're going for a little bit of a longer stint on these on this Sauber now. And there's Sebastian Vettel. He's been held up, and we're up the inside, and there we go, we're past Sebastian Vettel up into P10. It's not actual P10 at the moment, it's provisional third position. As you can see, Danny Ricciardo's into the pits as well. Crucially now, we need to try and keep ahead of these guys. Going in now, there's Adrian Sutil. We need to get past him as quickly as possible because he could hold us up. We're going to use his DRS and slipstream to give us an advantage now. We're going to open the DRS and slipstream. We don't make an improvement on our time. We get past him, but Sutil looks like he will hold up Sebastian Vettel. You can see Danny Ricciardo there, but importantly, can Sutil hold Vettel for as long as possible? There's Danny. We need to get past him quickly. We're now down in P4 unless we can get past Danny. We know we got the pace, but the only reason we got past Sebastian was because of Adrian Sutil. But we're holding it up. DRS and slipstream. We're actually gaining quite significantly. 7/10 has almost come down to an overtake, and now we're up the inside, holding the apex, and there we go. We're up into P3. We're on a podium position. We're actually showing pace against these Red Bulls. This is incredible from Sergio at the moment. Really good performance, and you can see Adrian Sutil's holding up Vettel nicely, but once he enters the pits, everyone can hold up. They're on fresher tyres than us, and they're going to really gain some positions now. It comes to the stage where we're coming into the pit lane as Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, you can see, going into turn 1 onto the mini straight going into turn 4 or 3, whichever one you want to call it. They're having a nice battle as well for the lead. So we're coming into the pit now. We're going to have to try and get a decent time, but the game is broken. It ain't going to be sub 3 seconds. It's a 3.784, improvement on last time's 3.8, but it's still not good enough. And you can see there's a lot of traffic, and I think we're going to come out in the mix of that, which isn't what we want. We need to get this time. This pit lane is just painfully slow. It's not as painfully slow as Silverstone, but it's still painfully slow. And you can see there's Nico Hulkenberg. We're breaking a little bit later, the guy who entered the pits on our previous outlap, and we've got past him with a dive bomb. Massa, who come out behind us when we had our previous pit stop as well. He's now ahead of Hulkenberg, and he's trying to make some points up. You can see now Massa's there, and Grosjean's holding him up now. We got DRS. Grosjean's trying to get out the slipstream, but Massa's following, meaning we're going to follow him now. The AI very intelligent actually of trying to get out of the DRS now. Massa can get past him, but we cut the corner to get past both, and then the game doesn't acknowledge it, so that's us up into P10. A double overtake, not the cleanest one in the world, but it will do. It's what we need. We're not battling with them. John-Eric Verne's next up, and you can see Jenson Button in the McLaren is coming out of the pit lane, and that's our teammate, and I believe that might be Sebastian Vettel up the inside, and there goes John-Eric Verne. That's a move done, but Gani Kvyat also doing really well, and Sebastian Vettel yet to pit as well. So we've come out ahead of our teammate and the trailing pack there, and we've actually moved up a position now. As Daniel Ricciardo and Vettel entered the pits, they came out quite a distance. We called out like 6 seconds, so there wasn't really an outlap. You couldn't really see much of them. But now they've crawled their way back with a fresh set of option tyres now. Can we hold off? The two Red Bull drivers, a really good drive now. If we can hold this off corner, we got unbelievable wheel spin out of every corner. The tyres are dead. They're just bright red. These two are so much faster. If they had one more lap, they could do it. But you can see out the final corner, we're getting the gap. You can see Ricciardo's there as well. Ricciardo, Vettel and Raikkonen. But we come across the line in P3. We actually get a podium. What a performance. So the race classification now, Nico Rosberg by 2 seconds of Lewis Hamilton, 47 seconds behind, just a little margin is Sergio Davilo. Ricciardo finishes behind him, 6 tenths down. It's Vettel, Alonso and Raikkonen to make up the next 3 places. Button gets 8 for really good 4 points. Kvyat in the Toro Rosso gets 2 points, and Massa picks up the scrapes in 10th, and Perez and Hulkenberg in the Force Indias, our rivals, are in 10th, in 11th and 12th now. So what does that mean for the Drivers' Championship? Well, we're in P6 because of our podium. We're on equal 20 points to Sergio Perez and Kimi Raikkonen. We're pretty much the best of the rest, as you got the Infinity Red Bull Racing cars, and actually we're doing really well to hold off a Ferrari. So you got the top 5 you would expect. Raikkonen with poor performances recently, but Jenson Button's also up in P11. You can see that there's a few cars without points, so it's a battle between the Saubers, the Lotus, Marussia and Caterham at the bottom, but we hold 4th in the Constructors' Championship, 2 points ahead of the Force Indians, who didn't pick up any points today, and Williams, only with 1 point today, are in 6th. So that's a really good performance, guys, and we're about to see the celebrations, which for me personally don't make sense. We picked up 3rd position in the car that really shouldn't be there, and there should be absolute jubilation. So maybe in the next game they can add a bit of a mixture. So like say if a Marussia got there, he would be doing this celebration right now. Bit of disappointment. We were 47 seconds off with the Mercedes. We weren't going to catch them. But guys, if you have enjoyed, then please leave a like below, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time.